Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hello? Okay. Alright. Hold on a second. Hello? Okay. Alright. Shit, I'm so nervous. Hold on a second. Hello? Okay. Alright. Shit, I'm so nervous. Hold on a second. Hello? Okay. Alright. Fuck, it's going. Fuck, it's going on loop. Shit, I'm. Fuck. Shit, I'm. Shit, my audio is going on a loop. Fuck. Shit, I'm. Here we go, I think I'm getting it. Here we go, alright. First story. Thanks for tuning into my first live stream. I'm extremely nervous, so please fucking be gentle in this. Shit, my audio is going on a loop. Fuck. Shit, I'm. Here we go, I think I'm getting it. Here we go, alright. First story. Thanks for tuning into my first live stream. I'm extremely nervous, so please fucking be gentle in this. Shit, my audio is going on a loop. As a child, I experienced a traumatic event that would change my life forever. When I was 8, both my parents worked different hours. My mom had the typical 9 to 5 job and my dad worked the night. So I had to have a babysitter watch me a lot of times after school. One of these babysitters decided to betray the trust of my parents and rob me of my innocence when he chose to molest me. Fuck, that's not a good story. Let's change that one. Here we go. I would like to share the story of an event that happened to me in my early 20s. This story is 100% true, and my parents, who I lived with at the time, will occasionally still talk about it. When I was probably 20 or 21 years old, I was living at home with my parents while I worked full-time and attended college part-time. I was tired from working a 16-hour shift at the printing plant, so I was eager to get to bed. I hardly remember anything from the time my head hit the pillow until I experienced the event. I was deep in sleep until I felt a tug on my leg. I don't know how many times this happened before, but I was on alert enough to realize something was happening. I wasn't awake, but I wasn't in deep sleep either. You know, how you will wake up from a dream and you quickly realize it was a dream and then fall immediately right back to sleep? That's the way I felt. I quickly dismissed the tug as a dream. As I began to drift off, I felt the tug again. It was like a hand grabbing my calf and trying to pull my leg off the side of the bed. I awoke again and blearily tried to look around the room. My parents live on a farm in a rural area in the Appalachian foothills, to deter the thieves. My dad has a dusk to dawn light and shines over a large area of the house and the storage sheds. Using the ambient light from the dusk to dawn light, I scanned my bedroom for signs of anything amiss. Everything was fine. I rested my head back on the pillow, and that's when I heard something giggling. Shh, you're going to wake him, another voice replied. I began to wake up and become more alert. I then thought to myself, who the hell is that? As I soon finished that thought, I felt something grab my big toe. I was most certainly awake now. A charge of adrenaline rushed through me as I stiffened in my bed. I slowly leaned to my right on my arm and lifted myself up in bed. Who's there? I called out. I could hear snickering coming from beside my bed. It was dark and close on the floor, so I couldn't see anything, but I most definitely heard someone snickering and giggling. Dad, is that you? This ain't funny if it is, I said. The giggling continued, and I heard a voice coming from the side of my bed, where the giggling was coming from. Say, shh, I think he's getting scared. I was getting scared. Guys, knock it off. This isn't funny. There was more tension behind my voice, probably because of the fear. I was convinced my parents were playing a stupid prank on me, but that's so out of character for a Sunday school teacher and a deacon. The giggling stopped and it got completely silent. Hold up. I'm back here. The giggling stopped and it got completely silent. It was quiet enough to hear the ringing in my ears. Then, the same instant, I felt something squeeze my foot and a voice in my right ear go, "Boo!" "Fuck!" I screamed as I woke up and as I threw the sheets off my bed, bounded on the light switch and the door. I jerked open the door, breaking a hinge, and turned on the light while still yelling some of the obscenities. I could have woke up the dead. My mom and dad came rushing out of the room, wanting to know who was cussing a blue streak in their good Baptist home. I told them what happened, and they chalked it up to exhaustion and a bad dream. My dad even said it probably had something to do with the clothes I hadn't put away from washing the day before. Something about an unkept room not allowing me to rest or something like that. I have no idea what that was. It never happened again and hasn't happened since. My old bedroom is now a guest bedroom. Catch-all room. There's been nothing weird happen at that house, or at least nothing my folks would admit anyway. Now I participate on ghost hunts, and stay in some places that are supposedly scary and haunted, but nothing has scared me as much as the night when I was living at home. Also, like I said in the video I posted earlier today, my voice is still a bit fucked up because I'm still a bit sick. Fuck. So, let's get on to the next story. Gotta quickly do a fix on my keyboard real quick. Fuck. Here we go. Here we go. I got it. Pizza has been one of the best and worst jobs I've ever had. I'll start with the reason why it's been good, before jumping right back into the bad stuff. And it's going to make explaining what happened to me last night a lot easier if you know a little backstory. For a business that consistently reminds me how cheap it is, it pays me well, enough as an assistant manager. The work is typically repetitive and simple. My days are usually melt together as it's more or less the same routine every day. Deal with customers, make pizza and wings, call the Pepsi company and complain our order is late for the third time in a row. There's an odd time when things get tense. We get angry and complaining customers every few days. But every workplace that deals with the customer service gets those. Thankfully, I never usually takes more than a free pizza or a credit on their next order to make them happy again. For the past 11 months, I've been the restaurant's main closer. My shifts never change from 4 to 11 or 4 to 12 on Fridays and Saturdays. Once in a while, I get scheduled for a 10 through 6 or 11 through 7 shift if one of our openers is sick, but that's pretty rare. However, it does happen. Since I live in such a small town, my Pizza Hut only deals with takeout and delivery orders. There's no dining area except a couple bar tables and stools at the main entrance for people for them with their order. The front lobby with the restaurant is a tiny kitchen, though is no exception. The entire back area is pretty much one big room with the little area behind the wall that doubles as a prep and area office. There is no break room or employee bathroom. We do have one bathroom right at the front for our customers, right next to the pop cooler by the entrance to the kitchen. Now that you know a little about the restaurant looks and runs, I'll move on to why it isn't a good place to work at the best of times. First off, I'm one of the only 5 people that work there. My boss and 2 other employees and contractors work from India, so English isn't their first language. They never talk in English when it's just me and them, so I'm always a little out of loop. My other coworker works only part-time since she's still in high school, so I'm with her only a few hours a week. I spend a majority of my time working without talking too much to my other coworkers. It can get pretty lonely. Now that's a little about me. I just turned 20. I'm a smaller female and I live in about 10 minutes away from work. That's 10 minutes walking one way. I don't have my license or a car. Typically, it doesn't bother me. But it does get kind of scary when I'm walking home in the dark after midnight. Thankfully, the walk to my house is in a pretty good part of town. I've yet to run into any real issues. Other than the language barrier between me and most of my coworkers, the only real problem comes from the night shifts. Since a person is fully capable of doing closing duties, I am left here by myself from 8 p.m. onwards. This means I have to answer phones, help customers, and I make all orders. It's not usually busy, so I never have a problem with that, unless there's an odd time where I get 4 or 5 orders at once. But I'm really fast in making pizzas, and I can usually get them made in the oven with a minute and a half of the order being taken. The real problem with being alone on closing shift explains it within every sentence. I'm here all alone. It can be kind of spooky sometimes if there's someone weird that comes in. Anyone could rob me or hurt me, and there would be no one here to help me. I've talked to my boss about the concerns, but he always dismisses me, saying, I'm a phone call away if you need help. We should not pay a second person to do your job. Jerk. Last night, I worked my usual clothes. Since it was Sunday, I had to stay only till 11. But it felt like there were 4 hours more. Last night, my fears of what would happen suddenly came true. My shift went normally for half the day. By the time 8 o'clock rolled around, I had said goodbye to my morning crew and had already started on the closing checklist. Weird stuff started happening around 9:30. I was making dough in the back, taking my time with it since there was not much else to do. I heard the beep beep of a doorbell and automatically I spun around, looking up at the TV displaying the real-time footage of the front lobby. I stared at it a few seconds, confused. The front was empty and I could not see anyone out of the windows. Convinced I had imagined it, I carried on with my dough. I greased enough and oiled 5 more pans, finishing the stack. I stacked them on top of each other and picked them up, turning around to check the camera before I carried the dough onto the walk-in cooler. My heart was standing in the lobby, peering into the kitchen. My heart leapt painfully into my chest, and I fumbled stacking, dropping them on the floor. A man was standing in the lobby, peering into the kitchen. At once I set down the pans, wiping my hands on my apron before I ran out to greet him. He shocked me, but I got over it quickly. I figured he must have been standing in the blind spot last time I checked the camera. The spot where I used to hide, taking extra breaks so my boss couldn't see what I was doing. Hi there, I called out as I walked over quickly. Sorry about that, I didn't see you come in. Would you like to make an order? I didn't see you come in, the man repeated my words. I didn't see you come in. I stood there for a second, not knowing what to say. I was getting a really bad vibe from this guy as he spoke. It got worse. I tried to ignore, convincing myself with low success that I was being silly. The man looked average enough despite being very dirty. He was very tall and looked older than my dad, but he was dressed strangely. He was wearing a shiny light blue dress shirt tucked into gray-stained sweatpants. His sweatpants were tucked into his socks. His gray hair was greasy and combined to the combed to the side. His pockets were stuffed with what appeared to be all the mints I had in the mint jar near the menus. He smelled like he hadn't showered in weeks. "Can I take your order?" I asked the guy, but my voice lacked questioning. It sounded more like a timid statement, and I wondered what this guy's problem was. It took a long time, but he finally ordered a small pepperoni pizza with 8 boneless wings. I rang his order in quickly, happy he had finally said something. I couldn't help but notice the way his mouth moved as he talked. It just went straight up and down like a doll, like it didn't have any teeth, and his breath nearly made me gag. "I'll have your order ready in 10 minutes," I said, placing his change on the table. I thanked him again and walked into the kitchen, wishing there was a door instead of an empty frame leading into the kitchen. I didn't want him to get curious and look in again. I went into the walk-in, grabbing a small pan to make his pizza. Before I got started, I checked the camera again, feeling a bit better when I saw the man standing at the bar table reading what looked like the menu from the front counter. Convinced he was just not all there and most likely homeless, I ignored my gut feeling that something was wrong and prepared his order. I had the pizza in the oven in under 30 seconds. I dropped his wings in a basket and set the timer on the fryer. 6 minutes to kill before they're ready. I took this opportunity to check my phone. I picked it up from the time I was receiving a call from my friend Lana. "Hey," I said in the phone. "You caught me just as I'm..." Hold on, I got a notification. "You caught me just as I'm taking a few minutes break. What's up?" "Hurry up and be done with work," Lana cried aloud, sounding irritated. "I'm so bored." "One more hour," I said, glancing at the clock. 10 p.m. I was startled by this. It felt like I had just looked at the clock. Half an hour had gone by since the man had come in. "Lana, you should walk over and pick me up," I said in a low voice. "There's this weirdo here and he's giving me the creeps." "Are you alone again?" Lana said, sounding concerned. "Yeah," I mumbled into the phone. "I tried to talk to my boss about it, but he never does anyways. I'll see you in a bit." I hung up the phone just as the fryer timer had started to beep. The wings were done. I threw my phone in the bag and walked around to the corner, the main part of the kitchen. I sauced the wings, cut the pizza, carrying the order to the front while looking forward to seeing the man leave. I looked around and felt my knees grow weak. The front was empty. The stool the man would be sitting in was jutted out. The menu he was reading was on the ground. This completely freaked me out. I hadn't heard the doorbell, so he couldn't have left. My eyes drifted over to the bathroom door. The handle on the button was horizontal, meaning it was locked from the inside. This made me feel a little better. He was just in the bathroom. There's nothing wrong with that. I stood at the till, aimlessly looking through the stuff as I waited for him to come out so I could give him his order. I looked down at the bottom of the screen and the time said 10:15 p.m., 10:21 p.m., 10:34. He had been in there for a half an hour before I mustered the courage to knock on the door. "Everything all right in there?" I called out. At once I could hear shuffling, as if I'd started him, backed up preparing for him to come out. The shuffling then stopped, but I couldn't hear him till he still didn't open the door. As I walked closer again, raising my fist to bang on the door again, I heard a click. The door had been unlocked. 10:40. I was at a loss for what to do. I had grown very paranoid, and I now knew something was very wrong, but at the same time I just couldn't stand there and wait for something to happen. It was 20 minutes and I had a few things to do. I braced myself to open the door and deal with it, when I heard him whisper, "One more hour. One more hour. Lana." I jumped back like I had been burned. He was recycling my words again from earlier, when I was on the phone, but when I was in the back of the kitchen behind the wall. There's no way he could have heard me, unless he had crept back there and listened in. I backed away from the door and grabbed my phone, dialing my boss's number. My hands shook as I struggled to press the buttons. Bright lights suddenly distracted me as I looked up to see a car pulling into the lot. I think my lucky stars as 2 people got out and walked towards the restaurant, holding hands. However, seconds before they could open the door of the bathroom creaked open. My heart pounded as I looked over, not sure what to do. I prepared myself. The man looked the same as before, except covered in sweat. He was panting like a dog, and his hair was sticking up everywhere, like he was pulling on it. Beep, beep. The couple walked in, looking curiously at the giant menu for a few feet over my head. As I turned to look at them, the man suddenly leapt forward, making me scream, and jumped back, but he didn't touch me. He grabbed his order sitting on the counter and then bolted out. and I mean bolted. He ran like someone was trying to kill him across the highway into the neighborhood beyond. The real life I felt dizzy when he was the relief I felt when he was finally gone was explainable. I was nearly laughing when I took the customer's order, so dizzy I could hardly keep it together. I rang in what they wanted and raced back to prepare my last order of the night. 10:52. Well, this is a long one. There's the cold obsessive. No, alright. With the customers in front, I felt comfortable enough to look out the windows and make sure the man had not returned. It was dark, but I could see enough. After a few good minutes of checking my phone and checking things out, I decided it was safe to say he was gone for good. I was also starting to wonder where Lana was and hoped she hadn't run into the creep. 10:57. I brought the customer's order and they thanked me, leaving me no tip, but I wasn't expecting one after they had just saw me scream as the man grabbed his order. As soon as they drove away, I turned the open sign and raced to the back to grab my things. I put my jacket on and went to the back area to turn off the computer system, realizing I forgot to check the bathroom to make sure the man hadn't done anything weird in there. I dismissed the thought. I wasn't going to spend any more time here than I absolutely needed. I've had enough for the day. The computer made a few beeping sounds as the entire system shut down, and then the light above me went out like it was supposed to. The only thing now was on now was security cameras, as I glanced up, hoping to see Lana walking over. Something bothered me about what I saw. The front was empty, dark, but I couldn't see the shapes and shadows of things. There was no one inside but me. I used the master switchboard next to the computer to turn the front light on, and I nearly had a heart attack. The man was standing outside the door, not moving and staring through the glass. It's hard for me to remember everything that happened next. All I recall is running into the wall cooler and locking myself in there as I called police on my cell phone. I remember crying as I tried to recall what exactly had happened. They drove me home and promised to keep a lookout for him, but that didn't make me feel much better. I felt like they didn't entirely believe me, but I was sort of expecting that. I went to work early the next morning, still terribly paranoid, even though it was the middle of the day with lots of people around. I was going to tell my boss I couldn't work nights anymore, starting now. There's no way I'd put myself through that again. I opened the door and my coworkers gave me a grim look, looking not all pleased as he motioned over for me to come look at the bathroom door. It was covered in caution tape with a giant sign that read, "Out of order." I asked everyone at work what happened in there, but no one gave me a straight answer. I'll never know how to fully explain what happened last night. I feel somewhat safe knowing I won't have to work alone ever again. But one thing that has been bothering me since. Lana walked here to pick me up and that man was outside. I've been calling her all day, each time it goes to voicemail. Update. Hi everyone, I've been reading on your comments and have been answering them the best I can. I'm going to give the two main answers, what happened in the bathroom and what happened to Lana. I was hoping to get a concrete answer as to what I found in the bathroom before I update, but it's growing apparent that it may be a while before someone tells me exactly what was discovered, even if they tell me at all. I got most information out of my boss, who talked to me for a long time today. The other two nights' events, he ended up looking over the security footage when the man was at the restaurant and went over with me what he saw. He told me he watched a man sneak into the back when I was on my phone, getting very close to me. He said if I had done so much as turn around, I would have saw him. I was told there had been a paper towel roll stuffed into the toilet, an entire roll by the sounds of it. And the cardboard cylinder was found stepped on in the floor. I didn't see anything too strange about this. And then I asked why everyone was being so quiet about it. I was told afterward that there had been blood covering the paper towels. There were smeared bloody handprints on the toilet seat. I don't know what to make of this, and I don't understand where the blood came from. There's another factor being left out of everyone's explanations, and I'm hoping that once this settles over, people will give me the last piece of the story. I have a feeling they aren't telling me for my own good. Blood and wet towels everywhere is disturbing enough. Lana has finally made contact with me. It's not the kind of contact I was hoping for, but at least it's good for now. I got a text from her a little half an hour ago. It said, Sorry, 9, I missed your call. I don't like that text. It doesn't sound like her. Lana's the kind of girl that uses exclamation points in every messages and always types the proper grammar and capitalization. That aside, I just think it's weird to say I called her tons of times, not just one call. Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I'm getting so paranoid I can't help it. I'm walking to her house again after I post this. I really, really hope it's just paranoia making me sound weird. Someone posted in the comments, what happened to Lana? What's happened in the bathroom? We still need answers, damn it. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that there is cussing in this. If there's any, I don't know, fucking children watching this, so, you know. Shit. Hold up a second. Gonna type in the chat real quick here. I started streaming 26 minutes ago. Fucking Christ, how long was that story? There we go. Hi, Jack. Just want to give you a bit of a shout out if you're still out there. Hey, man, how's it going? The mole night shift. I'm gonna check something in my stream. Here we go. That should do it. Hold on, it's here. There we go. Jack, if you're still out there, keep watching. I really like your channel. Okay, I think this might be the last one. This one's pretty fucking long, so shit. Control C. Let's not meet. Here we go. Alright, I think this is gonna be the last story for the day, guys. Okay, so a little backstory before I tell you one of the craziest experiences of my life. Here we go. That happened in my 2-year security career from 2013 to 2015. I'm a 6'7" male in Australia, and I'd like to think I'm fairly tough and intimidating. But some of the shit that I used to go on at the mall, I used to work the night shift, and it still gives me goosebumps to this day. So the mall I worked at was very, very, very large. The largest mall in my state, I'd say. And all the way up about 8:30 p.m., it would still be quite busy. Only around 9:30 would we manage to usher all the stragglers out and and only about 11 p.m. would all the business owners have left. My job was basically to patrol the mall and make sure there was no one sticking around after the doors were closing during night. We didn't have guns or batons. We only had a can of mace that was rarely used. There were multiple occasions where we would find thieves hiding around trying to break into shops after dark, but they were normally so far outnumbered by the 4 or 5 of us on shift at a time, and they would usually be intimidated by me or some other imposing members of security. This one night, though, shit really started getting weird for me on the night shift. So I'd say about 2 o'clock, and I was standing in the middle of an empty food court eating a sandwich. This was the only part of the mall that had any light at the night time, due to the skylight, so it was uncomfortable to eat here. While I was eating, though, I heard a dull scraping noise inside the hallway leading off from the food court and some toilets. It sounded like a piece of metal dragging across the floor. I was immediately put on edge. I flicked my torch or flashlight without a moment of hesitation. I can remember creeping down the hallway in a flashlight, a hand illuminating a good 6 or 7 meters in front of me. As I got closer to the end of the hallway, the noise became louder and louder until I was at the end of the hallway, and there was toilet doors to the left and right of me. I could tell the sound was coming from the female's toilets though. I gripped the handle on the open door in a tiny little crack. The noise was now very clear and had me not scared, but confused. I yelled, "Oi, who's in there?" Yeah, oi. The noise quickly stopped. I paused for a moment, listening hard through the tiny crack of the door. I swear to fucking God I could hear breathing. Low, male breathing. I shut the door, still gripping the handle tightly, and flicked off my radio. "This is 1-3. I need help on the food court bathrooms. I think there's someone in here." No response. This is really strange, and put me further on edge. The policy was to always answer the radio, and now I was truly becoming quite alarmed. "This is 1-3. Does anyone copy?" Still no response. I can remember whispering to myself, "What the actual fuck?" I again opened the door in a tiny crack. "Listen, mate," I said, sounding as intimidating as possible. "If you want to fucking come out with your hands up, you're gonna end up eating your teeth tonight. Do you want that?" I sat there at the door, quite honestly terrified at this point that no one was answering. In fact, there was no noise at all. I yelled again into the bathroom, "Okay, mate, I'm coming in. If you do anything stupid, it's not my fault. You'll never walk again." I tried my hardest to sound scary, but my voice was quivering at this point. The whole situation made no sense at all. Why would someone be in the female bathroom? What was that metal noise? What the fuck is even happening? I very slowly opened that door, and I scanned my flashlight slowly across the room. All the cubicles were open. Weird, but other than that, the room was totally empty. I walked into the bathroom. I was definitely shitting myself now. I was definitely losing it. I walked into the center of the bathroom, closing the door behind me. Scared to the core as I let out a faint, "This is some horror movie shit. Aye, come out." When I heard the long, whining squeak of the door behind me, I span around, basically crying at this point, and shone my torch on a fucking massive man, at least a head taller than me, and it seemed, at my state, that he was Caucasian and at least in his 40s with matte gray hair all over his forehead. He was in the mid-opening of the door, but stopped dead in the middle of his action. He just looked at me, smiling this guilty fucking smile like a kid would make when he gets caught stealing biscuits or some shit like that. I'm not going to lie. I was so fucking scared that I froze. He lifted his finger up to his mouth. "Shh," before swinging the door open all the way and sprinting out with what looked like some small metal box in his hand. Swinging open the door, turns out, fuck. He was just behind the toilet door when I was opening it and totally missed him. I was so fucking close to him. I didn't even fucking notice him. He could have killed me if he had a knife or something, and that thought still haunts me to this day. Later that night, my radio miraculously started working again, and I got right on telling my coworkers about my story. They collectively went pale when I told them what happened. They all had similar stories, but none of them were much as close shape as mine. I worked the night shift for another week after that before I quit. I'm not sticking around in a job like that, and I need help for some reason. Because, for instance, my radio had so fucked itself. Why? So weird old guy in the toilets. Let's not meet again. P.S. I know I laid it out really weird. I had to re-upload the story like 50 times due to the whole wall of text thing. This is also a true story. Reading over it, I realized how badly it's written, but this did happen to me. Edit. Yeah, I probably should have mentioned that the actual post, but I have no clue what happened to the guy. Okay, so this isn't the guy's personal story. The other staff fully swept the mall after I met up with him. I didn't sweep the mall with anyone because I was so disturbed after what happened. I know I didn't find anyone. Also, the metal box was for tampons. The mall had these plastic sanitary boxes next to each female toilet. I don't know where the box was from or what it was for. Fuck. Alright. You know what? Just for fucking fun, I think I'm gonna go ahead and. Should I do one more? Should I? Shit. Yeah, alright, I'll do one more. Just do a quick short one. Since it's been over half an hour and there's only one person watching this. Shit, did I just really do that? Fucking. Fuck. That one's really long. I'm not doing that one. Sorry, I didn't exactly have these stories planned out. I'm gonna go ahead and back to this. Alright. Fuck, that one's still long. Can I not find a short one of these? Fuck. Fuck. Okay, no, I might have to do another long one. Oh fuck, this is a creepypasta, not a true story. Alright, fine. Just do. Fuck. I don't think I can find one. Here, alright, fuck it, I'll do this one. I guess this one's a long one, so get ready. Okay, so I am no English major by any means, so grammar Nazis, be nice, I'm doing my best. I am also no storyteller, but this is a true story about my two oldest sisters, and I have never, ever told anyone about this. This is a deep, dark secret between me and my sisters. This is not much in the way of showing proof due to what happened a long time ago, 15, 17 years. We were much too young to do anything with cameras. I can show pictures of us, but it really doesn't prove anything. And no, they sadly are not very attractive. LOL. But I was 10ish at the time, and then the middle sister was 12 and the oldest was 14. It started with my middle sister. We started into, and I will show you mine if you show me yours, type of scenario. She started it for sure. I remembered her asking me and telling me that she was curious, which I said okay, and it showed just for a few minutes, and I got nervous and pulled my pants back up. What? Oh fuck, okay. She didn't, however. She wanted to keep looking. It was quite a long time, and I really don't remember everything said, but ended up with her on top of me a while, laying back on my bed, fully clothed, and her grinding into me with her eyes closed. I really. What the fuck? What the huh? Oh my god, this is an incest story. Okay, nope. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and end this live stream right here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end this. I'm sorry, guys. I started out with the molesting story by accident, and I'm so far leaving this with an incest with a part of an incest story. I am so sorry, guys. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye. Who's watching this? Whoever's watching this, please put this in. Please type in the chat. Who is it? Fucking end, you fucking thing.